I'm Shay Whitfield, live just outside of Clinton, Mississippi, a little town called Pocahontas. We're really in the country, so that's just the closest town that's to me. I have cattle here and farm a little bit in Belzona, Mississippi in the Delta, and I also work for a major ag chem supplier. I'm basically I say a seventh generation farmer, but I think it's further back than that. I know it's further back than that. You go through the book of my family tree, and everybody in our family has been involved in agriculture in some shape, form, or fashion. My granddaddy was my best friend. There was no gray area with my granddaddy. He was a World War II vet that everything was black and white. You know, you knew where you stood at all times with him, but I could go to him with any problem and talk about anything with him. He died at 94 holding my hands in the hospital. He never lost his mind. He was sharp as a tack to the day he died. And he told me, he said, boy, I gotta go to the bathroom, help me up. When I did, I reached over and I grabbed him by his hands and picked him up off the bed. And before I could lay him back down, he was gone. And people think of that as a morbid experience. I don't. I think it was one of the greatest blessings that I've ever had to be there at the end with the man that I loved as much as I did my granddaddy. My dad now is my best friend. I mean, we have a great relationship now that I wouldn't trade for anything, and us moving from the Delta back down here has really elevated that, the friendship that we have. And I thank my dad, I probably don't ever tell him, I should, for the work ethic he gave me. He pushed me to do things that I didn't want to do, but it gave me the work ethic I have today. More than anything, I thank him for his example in life, the way he lives his life, his devotion to the Lord. You know, my daddy's not one of these that's going to be a sidewalk preacher and do all of those things, but he lives it. I've got two boys. Lige, who's over my shoulder, I don't know if you can see him in the shot here or not. He's 12, a seventh grader, and Law, who was here earlier, is a 11-year-old sixth grader, and they're kind of my fencing crew, general all-around cow help and farm help. And then my wife Susan, she's a Delta girl that grew up on a farm. It's been nice, I think, compared to some other folks, that I married a girl that was from an ag background and she understands, as opposed to a lot of people that marry a girl from the city they met in college that doesn't understand agriculture at all. It's funny, my daddy and her daddy have known each other forever. I've known her daddy since I was probably 6 or 7 years old. I never knew he had a daughter. And when I moved to Belzona from here, her cousin and her aunt and uncle and her cousins kind of adopted me because I was the new guy in town. They didn't know me from Adam, but they were just the kind of folks that took a new guy in and welcomed him and kind of became part of their family. And her aunt told me one day, said, I want you to meet my niece. Y'all are gonna hit it off. Well, then I bought a house and I got her aunt to decorate it for me. And her aunt actually called Susan up and she said, Susan, I'm fixing to go decorate your future house. Do you want to have a say in it? And we hadn't even met yet. And so it's funny. They knew right away that we were going to hit off. We were going to be married, and they were right. You know, I want my boys to do whatever they feel called to do. Now then, I would love for them to take over and grow this thing beyond anything I could ever imagine. But I don't want to force them to do anything. I want it to be their choice, their calling, because in the end, they're the ones that got to live that life, and they got to enjoy what they do. Because if you hate what you do, it's a miserable existence. My nugget of wisdom, I read a quote the other day that really kind of hit me. It said, a man is not truly old until his dreams have become regrets. And that really hit hard. And yeah, I hope I never stop dreaming and start regretting.